So you're thinking about moving to South Florida. Maybe you've already started scrolling Zillow at midnight. Maybe you've got a short list of neighborhoods. Maybe you've been dreaming about this for years and you're finally making it happen. Here's the thing. South Florida is one of the best places in the country to live. But buying here is genuinely different from buying anywhere else. And the buyers who struggle are almost always the ones who didn't know what they were walking into. In this video, I'm going to give you the honest picture, the things most people only find out after they've already signed a contract. Let's get into it. Quick note before we dive in. I'm a licensed real estate professional based in the Palm Beach and Broward County area. I work specifically with buyers relocating from out of state, and the information I'm sharing today comes from real transactions, real surprises, and real buyers who learned some of these lessons the hard way. So you don't have to. The first thing to understand is that South Florida doesn't follow the same seasonal patterns you're used to. In most of the country, spring is buying season. Inventory goes up, buyers come out, and the market heats up between March and June. In South Florida, it's the opposite. The market gets most competitive in the fall and winter, October through March, when snowbirds arrive, relocators flood in, and inventory gets tight. If you're planning a winter move, you need your financing locked in and your agent engaged before that window opens. Summer, on the other hand, can actually be a great time to buy if you can handle the heat. Less competition, more negotiating room, and sellers who have been sitting on a property since winter are often more motivated. The other thing to reset is your mental math around pricing. Price per square foot varies dramatically depending on which county, which city, and whether the community has an HOA. And almost every community here has an HOA. Which brings me to the second thing you need to know. If you've never lived in an HOA community before, or if your last HOA was a loose neighborhood association that just asked you to mow your lawn, South Florida is going to surprise you. A very high percentage of properties here, single-family homes, townhomes, condos, are in HOA communities. And some of these HOAs are serious. We're talking rules about what color you can paint your front door, whether you can park a truck in your driveway, what time you can use the pool, whether you can rent out your property short-term or at all. None of that is inherently bad. A lot of buyers actually love the consistency and the amenities that come with a well-run HOA, the pools, the fitness centers, the landscaping, the security. But you need to know what you're agreeing to before you sign. Before you fall in love with any property, get answers to these questions. What is the monthly HOA fee? What does it cover? Has there been a special assessment in the last 5 years, meaning a surprise charge for repairs or reserves? Are there rental restrictions? And can you get the last 2 years of HOA financials? A financially unhealthy HOA is a liability that transfers to you when you buy. It's worth taking 10 minutes to check. This is the one that surprises relocators most. And I mean surprises them in a way that sometimes changes whether a home is affordable. Homeowners insurance in South Florida is not what you're used to paying. In most of the country, a solid homeowner's policy runs somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a year. In South Florida, the average is closer to $3,000 to $8,000. And for some properties, it goes higher than that. The reason is hurricane risk. South Florida is one of the most exposed markets in the country, and after years of storm losses and insurance company pullbacks, the market is tight and prices are high. And there are actually 3 separate things to think about. Your standard homeowner's policy, which covers most perils but has a separate hurricane deductible, often 2 to 5% of your dwelling coverage, not a flat dollar amount. Flood insurance, which is separate and required by lenders if your property is in a FEMA flood zone. And wind mitigation, which isn't an insurance policy but a special inspection that can actually lower your insurance premium significantly if your home has certain protective features. My biggest piece of advice here: get a full insurance quote estimate for any property you're seriously considering before you make an offer, not after. Because adding $600 a month in insurance, you weren't expecting changes the math on whether that home fits your budget. Let's talk briefly about neighborhoods, because Palm Beach and Broward counties are not one market. There are dozens of distinct communities that look similar on a map and feel completely different once you're living in them. Boca Raton and Delray Beach are probably the 2 most popular destinations for relocators in Palm Beach County. Boca is more polished and upscale, with a strong downtown, excellent schools, and one of the best track records for appreciation in the region. Delray has more personality, a vibrant Atlantic Avenue with restaurants and art and nightlife, and a more diverse mix of architecture from bungalows to new construction. In Broward County, Weston is the go-to for families. Master plan, top-rated schools, very safe, suburban feel. Fort Lauderdale gives you the most urban experience with walkable neighborhoods and a real arts and dining scene. Coral Springs hits the sweet spot of affordable, great schools and strong community feel. I go deep on all of these, including price per square foot ranges and honest trade-offs for each city, in my full guide. The link is in the description if you want to grab it. The last thing to know before you start your search is that good homes in competitive price ranges move fast, sometimes in days. And South Florida attracts a meaningful number of cash buyers, retirees, international investors, people who just sold in higher cost markets. That doesn't mean you can't win as a financed buyer. It means your pre-approval needs to be airtight, your agent needs to be responsive, and you need to be ready to make a decision quickly when the right home comes up. The buyers who lose are the ones who needed 3 weeks to think about it. Get pre-approved before you start your serious search. Not pre-qualified. Pre-approved. The difference matters more here than almost anywhere else. If you're planning to buy in South Florida, I put together a free 27-point checklist. Everything you need to do before you make an offer. Organized by stage of the process. It's completely free, and you can grab it at the link in the description. And if you want to go deeper, neighborhoods, mortgages, the full Florida buying process, insurance, closing costs, all of it, I also wrote a complete guide specifically for out-of-state buyers that covers everything we talked about today and a lot more. That link is in the description too. If this was helpful, subscribe. I post new South Florida buyer content every week, and drop a comment below with whatever city you're considering. I read everyone. See you in the next video.